Chile here with Sirius Taurus Moon, Mars, our Mars ruling over Mercury, that rules over the recently ingressed Uranus to Gemini. Moon 1 degree Virgo, applying to conjoin Ketu in Magha. I want to talk about something that may be relevant for the people around this crisis that are more from the Magha, that are closer to the people that have to transmute something that they've done. Um, it can be as far as Epstein list, or it can be um, whether it's treason or things that stem from the things that I talked about. And this is where the luxury of projecting it to the victim is creating more things to transmute. But what can be done? What is the point of interference? And Uranus gives us a sense of detachment. And this sense of detachment allows us to see that if, let's say, an elite child is born, or a king is born, and that king is born into a carpal body of baby, the family, where one baby is ritually murdered and one baby is ritually tortured, but raped, and the consciousness of the person, a living person, permeates the body, and in that way they transcend incarnation, but through torture rather than through heart alignment that can probably direct the soul, like sonic souls in Aries is uh, aligned with the heart and the direction or the telos of the soul, um, which I think can be accessible as we abolish rape and ritual abuse. There are many things that would be accessible. It's like we don't know the world without rape. Just think about this. And now Uranus allows us the place of detachment where the contemplation of this as the birthing of the Magha, or the Magha associated lineage, or the people in the Epstein list, bringing compassion to the fact that those were the way things were. And now, because they were both the adult person permeating the consciousness of a child, but they were also the in the consciousness, the carpal consciousness was of the rape child as well, and they were also um, brought down or tumbled down by torture to reincarnate in that way. And so, bringing compassion to that place, without projecting it to the raped child, without projecting it to the murdered child, just compassion to the soul for this type of process of incarnation. And with the people around these circles, compassion to their souls as the soul that went through, let's say, the abuse and so on. And this brings a point where that compassion alleviates the need to try to project and shout out to light this effort to try to project the burdens of Magha or onto onto Beta per se, which is the raped, because in bringing compassion to the place where one was raped, let's say as infant, can um, can access this not from a place of being perpetrator and blame shifting, but from the wound of origin. Now, as per soul that incarnated into child, which creates the identity dissociation, the identity confusion, one can bring the compassion to the soul itself. Um, Also, understanding that the structure was such that these practices were considered secluded, elite technology that people cannot access. Again, I'm afraid to name names. Um, it's not because I don't appreciate, and it's because even though these people content creators, I don't want them to be targeted. Um, and it's a challenge, but content creators want to have that reach and want to have it's a visibility challenge, which pertains exactly to this nakshatra. Um, and so, but because the structure um, is such that these things were considered, first of all, sacred, as terrible as it sounds, elite, um, it was kind of like the sacred and the profane, the elite and the slave. Now, in general, when it comes to Leo, Magha, and the sun is at service of. It's the light. It's light. The light it emits is the light that the plants grow by, that life grow by, and it. People talk about it as the weight of the throne. And now, when these practices were so secluded, because, by the way, the eclipse we had 2-3 years ago with Icaros, and Icaros was really about flying so close to the sun that the wax wing melt. And think about these practices as something that is lying dormant on the core of the sun. So, just thinking about that is a point of interference to bring compassion to the soul. If a child, in modern times, if a child, if let's say a kindergarten assistant sees a child acting weird, that could be notions of child abuse, they have to report later what happens with this child. Yes, but when it happens with an elite, it is a sacred ritual of initiation. And the fact that anything coming close to the Regulian was like Icaros, that the wax wings would melt, and even the flight towards the sun that could have been the most innocent and unaware, would have been perceived as egoic, and there would be a lot of projections about this Icaros. Um, and so the thinning of the veil allows us, with this position of Aries, thank you, Mama, to to permeate spaces. Even if I think about COVID, the cats of the broadcasters, the um, screens that went suddenly on and off, somebody thinking that they are not without camera, um, and to understand what is visible. Think about the surveillance and so on and so forth. Say, this house is so messy. And then when they look into the life of the person, yes, of course it is messy. This person is targeted. Ah, but they don't, in the elite, they act normal. They don't act normal. Oh, they actually go against rape. But what, they want to kill us? No, they say we are raped. Oh, they're raped. But we do that to infants because it was done to use infants. Oh, yeah, that's how they. But some of them die. Yeah, that can happen to anyone. No, but there are particular souls that are. I was like, okay, but that entire process doesn't necessitate torture. And so the minute that something, and here's the thing, it was hidden in the light of the sun. And the minute the thinning of the veil allows us to see what was hidden in the light of the sun in a new light. Um, and and this is also when it comes to the occultism, where the traditions used to think that we need to use fierce violence to transmute the energies um, and I'd like to suggest that not necessarily so. One of the things that I was insisting with the gods when I was doing astrological magic is on that neurodivergence component. It's a different type of veneration. It's not the ceremonial, meticulous, ritualistic because I was tending to transmute certain things, and a part of the nature of these things is, for example, not being able to, I don't know, offer an offering on time, or literally that the relations with the God would be love that is actually loving. Uh, um, Now, as remote as those things are, even compassion about the things that come up, because when we talk about trauma, and those tortures are trauma, whether people see them as initiation rites or whatnot, it is trauma, and they can be dissociation from emotion. They can be sudden laughter at places that are absolutely not funny. It happens to me too. You see that, and I'm not the fuck do I know what is running in my blood, but um, um, but this is also the notion that there really wasn't access to that type of information that can evoke a lot of emotional contradictions and a lot of perceptual contradictions, and um, um, and a retrieval of the energy of origin. Um, so a retrieval of the energy of origin, um, and this process of bringing the compassion is in itself a restoration of youth. Um, and or a restoration of the eternal. אה? אוקיי. אנחנו שתינו יוצאות, לא? אוקיי, אין בעיה. אז אני בכל מקרה אצא יחד איתך.